Okay guys, welcome to your design product launch for this term for your TAS class. So TAS classes are all up to practical projects with rotations at the moment. So some of you were doing sewing, some of you were doing digital tech, some of you were doing food, some of you were doing CO2 dragster cars. So while you were learning remotely this term, instead of just doing more theory, we thought, why don't we give you a super cool design project that you can do from home that's going to be relevant to something that you're experiencing at the moment. How could you as designers design something that's relevant for you right now? So what's going on? COVID-19 has affected all of our lives in some ways. I'm sure for most of you, your holidays have been very different to what they normally are. Social distancing lockdown restrictions have meant that we're all spending way more time than we normally would inside our houses with our families. While this is super awesome, because we don't often get to spend a lot of time with our families, I'm sure for some of you, it's a bit of a different experience than you're used to. So what do we really need at this time? Well, at this time, as I'm sure you're all aware, we need to be able to take advantage of these restrictions because it's given us a really awesome time to spend time with our families. So we need family spaces where we can gather together. But in those spaces, we also need them to be adaptable so we can, separate out. However, on top of that, as 21st century designers, we know that, whenever we design anything, we have to design for a preferred future or with the future in mind. We can't just do something cool that we think looks nice. We have to design in a sustainable way. So this is your super cool task for the term. You have to design a sustainable family space for all of your family members, like a living room or a rumpus room. Most of you have something similar in your houses, but the world is your oyster with this particular task. You'll be given a space that's 8 meters by 8 meters, and you can design it into anything that you want. Imagine the coolest family space you possibly could. So in the layout of your room, we're going to be looking at lots of different stuff with this task, but basically the layout of your space or your room needs to have separate spaces for members of your family, but also a space where everyone can come together. So as this design project continues, we're going to be doing lots of stuff in terms of engaging with your family members and seeing their wants and needs and what they want from a space. But on top of that, you can't just put in really cool stuff that you like. It also has to include sustainable furniture, appliances, and objects that are suitable for individual and family activities. So, yes, your space can be super cool and meet the needs of everyone, but it also has to be sustainable. And that's the clincher. So, don't just make a space that you think's cool, has to be sustainable. So from this point, what do we know and what do we need to know? Well, we've just gone through how large the space needs to be and, what's required. However, at this point, we've just dropped the needs to be sustainable problem. So we really need to know, what is sustainability? For some of you, you did a bit of that towards the end of last term, but also really more particularly, what makes something sustainable and how do we judge if something's sustainable? So some of you did a little bit of sustainability last year, or you might have done some last term, but it's really complex. So we need to know what sustainability is before we have any hopes of tackling this task. However, this is your fun and exciting adventure for term 2. So hope you got your thinking caps on, hope you got your creative caps on. Let's get some of this surface knowledge on sustainability out of the way and you can start designing a preferred family living space for all the members of your family during COVID-19.